Hi, morning everybody, welcome from Australia. My name is Chrissy and today I'm going to be giving you a channel prediction reading for the 23rd of February. Now I've currently got my two rescue dogs here. This is Sophie and this is Sprocket. If they pop their head up, they're currently having a little sleep. I'm also shooting this video in my daughter's room. Because I've got painters here doing the exterior of my house, and so every curtain's pretty much shut, so I need their light, and they're at all the other windows. So I'm just tucked away in this little room giving you this little channel reading. So I'm just going to close my eyes. For anyone new to the channel, I just allow my guides to come through and get the messages to you. So stay watching for any messages that you might be meant to receive today, and I'll just get started. Now I'm getting that the windows are like really opening up. So the windows are really opening up. The transparency is really happening. Now I know for a lot of you people out there, freedom fighters or whoever's trying to stand up for the truth, particularly around in Canada, it's hard to believe that the transparency is actually happening. It seems surreal to many, but this is actually happening. The windows are opening. They're sort of showing me like it's that spring energy where it's almost like that spring cleaning. So you open up your windows after winter. It's like you can breathe again. You get that fresh air flowing through your house. And this is what I'm saying about that we're getting back to that sort of natural state again. And that's what people are wanting around the globe. They're wanting to feel that freedom. They're wanting restrictions to be lifted. They want some sort of normality in their life. People are really pushing now against the tyranny and the dictatorships. They don't want those things. So people obviously in Canada are standing up, but people around the globe are still rising and standing up. This is a huge movement that cannot be stopped. So that's something that I'm really seeing, is that opening of the windows, we're getting that fresh air and that flow back into our lives. So this is actually happening. That is the current energy, is definitely about, it's sort of after winter when you open up those windows and you get that flow of that fresh air and all that sort of stale air that of the fires and things that have been, when we have our houses closed down over winter, you kind of get that little bit of a musty, smoky sort of air. Well, this is about getting that good ventilation now, and that's what they're saying. This is about getting that flow like back into your life, and that is actually happening. The transparency, it is happening. So for people out there that are wondering, yes, it is happening. People are being seen. And I'm definitely getting that waking up of the masses. So the mass psychosis, I feel, is being shaken up. It's like when Trudeau dropped that bomb I talked about the other day. That's sometimes what you need to shake people up. So never look at these situations as kind of negative. You've got to take the positive from them and see going forward that, wow, this could actually have a really impact on not just obviously Canada, but this is around the globe. This is waking people up like that very, very quickly. People are starting to question things. They're starting to doubt what's been going on. And that's what's actually happening. People are doubting the reality of the situation and why has this agenda been pushed. People are really seeing that now. They're questioning, why was it pushed so hard? Why were there mandates? Why were they forcing people to go and get jabbed? Why were the unvaxxed so against all this? And people are, hello, rose-coloured glasses are being taken off, and I really believe that's happening at the moment. Now, I feel that people are really trying to achieve things. People are tired of being sat still like in a chair. It feels like people have sat in a chair for 2 years and watched sort of everything crumble around them, but they're wanting to actually get going. So they're wanting to achieve some goals. They're wanting to create that movement in their life. They're wanting to get some structure and purpose to their life. So this is about people are wanting to have a holiday again. They're wanting to do those things that can kind of bring them back to life and make them feel good. People are tired. People are exhausted. And what do we do when we're tired and exhausted? If we've been working really hard, we usually take a holiday, we take a break, we switch off from all the stresses, and that's what people are wanting to do. They're wanting to implement and get those kind of experiences back in their life, and that's what's actually currently the energy that's going around, is people want those moments of happiness, joy, relaxation, you know, lazing around a pool, drinking a cocktail. These are the kind of images that they're giving me. That's what people are wanting. They're wanting to have some lazy times, because when you're locked in your house and you're told you can't do this and you can't do that and you're being dictated to, that's not relaxing. That, you know, that's not something that people find, oh, I'll just have a holiday and work from home. That's still not relaxing, because there's all this uncertainty, the anxiety. For some people, there's the real, like I've said, that real fear of the virus and what's going on, and it's so scary in the pandemic, especially if people, as we know, watch the media and then the news. They're not being told the truth, but that's still feeding into their psyche. So these are the things that a lot of people have felt. So when you're locked down and you're being dictated to, that is not relaxing, and people are wanting to get back to the things that make them happy, relax them, get to those peaceful places. You know, that, like I said, they're showing me the tropical island, sitting in a hammock, eating beautiful fresh foods. This is the kind of thing people are wanting again. They're wanting some of this sort of, I guess it's kind of getting back to nature, but it's also doing the things that will give them that calmer sense of being inside. Now, someone said to me the other day out there that they're sick of hearing about Russia and Putin, and I have to totally agree with that comment from one of my viewers, is that they use a lot of distractions, and we have to be very aware that, remember, this is all about fear. So the more that they can heighten the fear and get people all worried and scared and full of fear again, the more that they have control. And we've got to be very careful that we don't get sort of sucked into that vortex again of fear. Because when someone is saying that, you know, that threatening war and everything's imminent and Biden's involved and all this, it starts to scare people. You know, Americans might be thinking, oh, we're going to get terrorist attacks and what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. And this is what they do. Because if you notice, they take the narrative of just this at the moment, and that seems to be the big thing. It's like they've moved from the kind of pandemic and all this drama, and they've moved it into Ukraine, Russia, Putin. Every time you turn TV on, I watched, for example, sometimes I switch on the news just to see what sort of garbage they're feeding us, and 20 minutes I sat there and watched the late night news, and it was all about Russia and Ukraine. And I'm not saying that these are insignificant things, but what's the truth? What are we being fed? Are we being fed these things to put that fear in people again? And I think that's what we've got to be really aware of as well, that these elite people are very, very good at using distraction. And like I said in my last video, climate change is going to be one of the big distractions as well that they're going to use to get our minds onto other things. So meanwhile, they can implement all the things that they're wanting to implement, and they have excuses to do it because, oh, climate change is very, very bad and we all have to address it. So they're very, very clever with their narrative and directing people's thoughts. And I do, however, get that message that the mass psychosis is petering out, though. I really believe that, like I said, that bomb has gone off and it has woken people up, and it's shaken like the glasses off. I think I said that the other week about getting those rose-coloured glasses off, but the bomb has kind of smashed people's glasses, or it's either shaken them off their head, and now they're starting to see truth. And it is the truth that is actually scaring people, because they are fearing their own governments, they're fearing of the dictatorships, they're fearing where their life is headed and what the hell is happening, and they're starting to unlock and unfold the truth. They're starting to hear about what financial crashes, there could be things coming like that, could interest rates go up, and I tell you what, that puts a lot of fear in people when you're living on the brink and you've got huge house payments, repayments to make, you're trying to financially live, petrol's going up, gosh, it's crazy. I keep filling up my car all the time. People don't know sort of what decisions to make now. They're kind of they're pushing this electric car agenda, hybrids. It's a very confusing time for a lot of people because there's so much uncertainty, and of course uncertainty brings fear. So if you can bring fear into the masses again, what do? You get control. So it's very important at these times that you regroup, that you sort of think about your life and what you want moving forward. You know, I know a lot of countries are talking about getting their money out of the banks, and because this is how they control everything with all the money in the banks, we know that that's definitely becoming clearer and clearer about the monetary control they're trying to get. So you've got to really sort of sit down and assess your own situation. Don't get yourself into heaps and heaps of debt. This is not the time to be doing that, because that's what they want. They want people to sort of cave and give in, and then they're going to just reap those rewards. We know how the banks work. The CEOs and all that people and the big elites get all the wealth from all that, but all the little people down here never seem to get the benefits of the incoming stream and pool of money. Now, I have noticed that they talk a lot about, and if anyone has gone and listened to Klaus Schwab, which we know is trying to dictate to the world, he talks a lot about the debt that we all have to repay. Now, I'm thinking that that's a lot around the vaccinations and all this global debt that we've all accumulated, which is crazy, because if you're unvaccinated, you pretty much haven't accumulated any of that debt. So that confuses me a lot. I always say to people when they've sort of been jabbed, I go, well, who's paying for all this debt that, well, example here in Australia has created? And that's just the vaccines. What about the testing and all this, the clinics, it's just a mad financial debt that we have all created. And Klaus is actually talking about, well, we have to all connect now and get on this even playing field so we can all recover from this big financial debt. And wow, that's just so scary to listen to. So you have to kind of really wake up and see what's really going on and try to look at that bigger picture and keep your own little sort of situation under control. Start doing your research, start getting on YouTube, get some financial tips. I talked about that in my last video, because that's going to be crucial moving forward now. You know, fingers crossed that all these truths come out and people finally stand up and start to see these things, but we can't rely on that happening either, because we do know how the mass psychosis actually worked, and they all turned on a lot of us, and the segregation came in society. So we've also got to be aware that we have to still stay independent and strong and stay with that light kind as well moving forward, because that's how you navigate these kind of challenging situations. Now, I'm still getting that the truckers in Canada are building like road blocks. So I feel like truckers are, and this is the USA as well, this is spilling over. So this rise is going to create massive tensions in these countries, because they're going to cause these blockades, and this is just going to keep like streaming out further. You know, it's like when you drop a pebble in the water, it has that rippling effect out. Well, this is the ripple around the globe. Drop the pebble and you get the rippling effect, and the truckers are the pebble in the middle, and they have dropped and caused a rippling effect out now that is not just in Canada and USA. This is all around the countries. We can see that people are rising up. They don't want to live in these kind of societies. It's never come to the vote. No one's had any say in it. It's not what we want. The people are standing up and they are fighting back. They don't want this. And this is where the truckers have caused these great blockades. Not only blockades in highways and roads, this is en masse, but these are blockades in decisions going forward. There'll be blockades in parliaments, because they're going to start voting differently. I really feel that people are going to start voting very smart. They're not going to just vote whoever and think, oh, we'll be right, we'll just vote them. People are really processing these things now in the votes going forward. And I also feel like, oh God, I've just lost my train of thought. People want to know who their head of state is, but they want to have input. I've said that before. People want to have input in the decisions going forward. So they want things to go to the vote. They don't want someone to just stand on their perch and tell people what they're going to be doing, because that's not sitting, and that's not sitting with these truckers. And that's why the trucker movement is so strong, because when you think of a truck on the road, it's got enormous energy and power. And this is why people can fight back, and that's why the truckers have had so much strength. People can march, people can walk, yes, that's good too. It's making a huge difference. I'm not saying it isn't, but that's why the truckers have had such impact, because they are protected by their cabins, they're protected by their sort of shield. So their truck is like an extension of themselves that can protect themselves. They can take away their licenses, they can take away their trucks, but at the heart of a trucker is the trucker, and that's a resilience and a strength that they have by being on the road. They drive long hours, they work really hard, they can thrive on very little sleep, so they have a great resilience, and that is why the truckers are so important in this movement. They have an ability that a lot of sort of people don't have, and that's that sort of staying power and that tenacity. That's something that truckers definitely have, and that's what I'm getting. They've created these blockages, and they've also undone the blockages in people's minds, because people have a lot of old habits and they feel like, oh, well, I'll just do as I'm told, and obviously the health system and the science knows best. But we're starting to see now that what science? One person that they've let talk about, I think we can pretty much say, is Fauci, and he's the science. Like, from past experiences, Fauci has not got a lot of things right, and there's a lot of people over here, Robert Malone, I think it's John Campbell, there's a lot of people, Tony Lin I think is another one, who have got some great scientific information and evidence, and they are bringing those things forward now. And look at Joe Rogan, he interviews a variety of people, and people want to hear both sides. These things need to be debated, and that's what the guides are saying, that people want debate. They don't want dictatorship. They want to be involved in the debates now, and they want this going forward. So that's something that the truckers have really ignited and unlocked in a lot of people, that they want to have their say, and that's very strong coming through. It's saying like petitions won't do anything. This is about standing up en masse and holding the line and holding our ground. If we keep caving, this will just swamp people and roll over us. We have to keep spreading that message. We have to keep sharing information. We have to keep getting those truths out, because it's the more people that wake up that will start to see. And that was the other area I meant to talk about before that I forgot, that's now come back to me. The truckers have highlighted the lies and deceit of the media. Now, when you're seeing videos of the media being escorted by police out of these peaceful protests, that says a lot. So people are now understanding that the media has been very involved in the separation and the division of people right around the globe. This is not just in Canada. This is, God, here in Australia, it's been huge. So people are now turning to other platforms. They're turning to Rumble. They're turning to YouTube to see what people have got to say. People are very curious now. Their eyes are opening up. So keep sharing, keep getting information out there, keep hitting those like buttons, because that spreads a lot of people's info as well. Make comments, it keeps it in the algorithm. If you make comments on people's Canadian videos, for example, or the USA, there's so much going on. Make sure that you keep spreading that information, and that's how you go about doing it. You keep the algorithms by keeping that video in the stream. So that's definitely a message that I'm getting today. I'll just see if there's any last message coming through for the 23rd of February. The masses are forming. This is happening. This is a movement, and it's a great movement. The chilling side of this movement is the darkness. The darkness is a very, very big force, but we can handle it, you know, and they're showing me kind of, you know, like Harry Potter, like, you know, there's Voldemort, but Harry and his little army, they created their own little army in sort of Hogwarts army, and they fought back, and they pushed and pushed, even when it looked like they were going to lose. This is that luck of the Irish. I talked about it yesterday, that when the chips are down and things feel really bad, something always presents itself, and everything can just turn around on a dime. So you've got to, every time something negative happens, you have to look at that positive experience that is coming from it. And the biggest thing that came from the Emergency Act being carried forth this week was that people started to realise. They realised the tyranny, the dictatorship. They realised the enormity of the situation going forward. To me, that's all positive, and there's only more positive things to come. So keep, every time there's something negative, put your energy and your thoughts on the positive, because that's how we all go about shifting these things. So thanks for watching today. Subscribe to my channel. Go check out some of my other early predictions this year. I think it'll be really interesting to look back and see what's been happening. Hit those like buttons. And also, please comment. I love talking to you guys down there. I've got some great people that I chat to regularly. And, you know, like I said, keep sharing these videos. Get these messages out, because we can make a difference in this world, and we can get people to take their glasses off. Mind you, that's already happening. So sometimes you can kind of just sit back, and I think I said the other week, there's going to be a big shit show, and we're right in the middle of it right now. So take care. Bye from Australia, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.